I still remember the way the ring sparkled under the soft glow of the chandeliers that night. My engagement party was supposed to be the happiest moment of my life. Everyone I loved was there. Friends, relatives, neighbors. My heart swelled with joy as I stood beside Harry, the man I believed would protect my heart forever. I was 22, young and hopelessly in love. Harry was everything I thought I wanted, gentle with his words, steady with his actions. He had proposed under the oak tree in my parents' garden, the place where we had carved our initials years before. For me, that was proof enough of his love. But looking back now, I should have noticed the cracks in the perfect picture. The way his eyes sometimes wandered when he thought I wasn't watching, the way he grew silent whenever my sister, Claire, entered the room. Claire had always been dazzling, tall, confident, with a kind of beauty that demanded attention. I never envied her. She was my older sister, and I trusted her with all my heart. That night, though, something felt different. As the music swelled and guests clinked their glasses, I slipped away to catch my breath. That's when I heard it. A voice, low and urgent, coming from the side hallway near the kitchen. "Not tonight," a man whispered. "We'll figure it out after the party." My breath caught in my throat. I recognized the voice instantly. It was Harry. Confused, I stepped closer, careful not to make a sound. That's when another voice replied, softer but filled with heat. "You promised me, Harry. Don't you dare back out now." The words froze me in place. It was Claire, my sister. I felt the ground tilt beneath my feet. My heart pounded so hard I was sure they would hear me. My fiancé and my sister, talking in hushed tones, plotting something behind my back. I wanted to burst in, to demand answers, but fear glued me to the spot. I heard Harry sigh, his tone weary. "Please, Claire, just give me more time." Claire's response was sharp, almost threatening. "Time is running out, Hey, and if she finds out, everything will fall apart." The sound of footsteps approaching forced me to retreat into the shadows. My hands trembled as I pressed them against my chest, trying to steady the storm inside me. My perfect night had just cracked open, revealing something dark, something I wasn't ready to face. When I returned to the party, my smile was plastered on like a mask. Nobody could see the chaos raging inside me. Harry held my hand, raised a toast to our future, and kissed my cheek like the loving fiancé he was supposed to be. Claire stood across the room, her champagne glass glinting as she watched us. For the first time, I couldn't read her expression. I wanted to believe it was all a misunderstanding, that maybe I had misheard, or maybe the words weren't what I thought they meant. But deep down, a seed of doubt had already been planted. That night, as the guests left and the lights dimmed, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The ring on my finger felt heavier than it ever had before. The man I loved had whispered promises to my sister, and my sister had spoken of secrets that could ruin everything. I had no idea what they were hiding from me, but I knew one thing: my life would never be the same again. The morning after the engagement party, sunlight streamed through the curtains, mocking me with its warmth. My head was pounding, but not from champagne. I hadn't touched a drop. It was the voices I had overheard, echoing endlessly in my mind. Harry lay beside me, his arm draped across my waist as if nothing were wrong. His breathing was calm, steady. I stared at his face, searching for cracks in the mask he wore so well. When his eyes fluttered open, he smiled at me, gentle, reassuring. "Good morning, fiancé," he whispered, pressing his lips against my forehead. For a fleeting moment, I almost convinced myself I had imagined it all. Almost. But when he left to shower, I sat up, gripping the sheets. No. I had heard Clay's voice, clear as day. Her words carried the weight of betrayal. I couldn't ignore that. Later that afternoon, I visited my parents' house under the pretense of helping with post-party cleanup. Claire was already there, her hair tied up casually, humming as she folded leftover linens. She looked at me with the same sisterly affection as always. "Congratulations again, Em. You were glowing last night," she said, her smile soft but her eyes unreadable. I forced myself to smile back, though my chest tightened. Did she know I had heard them? Was she pretending, just like me? As we worked side by side, I couldn't resist testing her. "I thought I saw you talking to someone in the hallway last night. Who was it?" her hands still for the briefest second before she laughed lightly. Oh, just one of the caterers. He was asking about the table arrangements. Why? The lie slid off her tongue so easily it made my stomach turn. She didn't even blink. I let it drop, for now. But inside, suspicion burned hotter. That evening, I searched Harry's study while he went out for groceries. My hands shook as I rifled through his desk drawers. Receipts, old photos, bank statements. Nothing unusual, until I found an envelope tucked beneath a stack of papers. My name wasn't on it, but Claire's was. With trembling fingers, I slid the letter out. Claire, I know what we agreed, but she can't find out yet. It will destroy everything. Please, just wait. H. My vision blurred. I clutched the letter, my heart hammering against my ribs. He was writing to her. Secret letters, hidden in his desk. My mind screamed questions. What agreement? What could possibly destroy everything? And why involve my sister, of all people? I shoved the letter back into the envelope just as I heard Hayes' car pulling into the driveway. Panicked, I returned everything to its place and rushed to the living room, pretending to scroll through my phone. When he walked in, smiling with a bag of groceries in hand, I felt sick. How could he look so normal when his lies were woven so tightly around me? That night at dinner, I studied him carefully, the way he laughed, the way he spoke about our future. He seemed flawless, and yet I now knew there was a dark thread connecting him and Claire, one they were desperate to keep from me. After he fell asleep, I crept out of bed and called my best friend, Sophie. Whispering into the phone, I told her everything, what I had overheard, the letter, the way Claire had lied. There was silence on the line before Sophie finally said, Emily, I don't think this is about love. I think this is about something bigger. Something they don't want you to uncover. Her words sent a chill down my spine. What do you mean? I asked, my voice shaking. But Sophie only sighed. Think about it. Your father's estate. The inheritance. Everything you're supposed to receive when you marry. I froze, my mind reeling. Could it be? Was this betrayal not just about Harry's heart, but about money, property, power? I didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I knew Sophie was right. And that meant one horrifying possibility. My own sister might have set me up. I couldn't sleep that night after Sophie's words sank into me like poison. Inheritance. Estate. My father's name carried wealth and history, but he had always been quiet about money. Still, I knew his will was straightforward. Everything would eventually pass to Claire and me. Equal shares. But what if it wasn't? The thought gnawed at me until morning. Harry kissed my cheek before heading out to work, completely unaware that I was already plotting. I needed answers, and I knew exactly where to start. My father's office. By afternoon, I was standing in the study I had grown up avoiding, the one filled with heavy bookshelves and the smell of old leather. My father had passed a year ago, and since then, the room had been locked. But I had kept the spare key hidden in my jewelry box, just in case. My hands shook as I opened his desk drawers, searching through papers and sealed envelopes. Then I found it, a copy of his will. My breath caught as I scanned the lines, my eyes widening at the words. To my youngest daughter, Emily, I leave the estate, including the main house, provided she marries before her 23rd birthday. My knees nearly buckled. The estate wasn't split equally. It was all mine, under one condition, my marriage. My engagement suddenly made chilling sense. Harry's devotion, his rush to propose, the pressure surrounding our relationship, it wasn't love alone. It was opportunity. And Claire, the echo of her voice came back to me. If she finds out, everything will fall apart. The room spun. My sister had known. She must have read this will long before I had. Which meant her closeness to Harry wasn't coincidence. I clutched the will to my chest, tears stinging my eyes. My sister, the person I trusted most, had betrayed me for money, for power, for everything my father wanted me to have. As I stumbled out of the study, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Hay. Running late tonight. Don't wait up for me. I should have felt relieved for the time alone, but dread clawed at my chest. Something told me he wasn't working late. Curiosity and fear drove me. I grabbed my coat, my car keys, and followed the faint suspicion in my gut. By the time I reached the edge of town, I spotted his car parked outside a quiet cafe. My pulse quickened as I stepped out and pressed against the cold glass window. There he was. Hey, sitting across from Claire. My stomach dropped. Their heads leaned close together, voices hushed. Claire's hand brushed against his, her expression tight, desperate. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could see enough. The intensity in their faces wasn't casual. It was plotting. I wanted to burst in, to scream, to demand why. But I stayed rooted to the sidewalk, tears sliding silently down my cheeks. I had to know more before confronting them. As I turned to leave, a man brushed past me, tall, broad-shouldered, with a sharp gaze that lingered too long. I didn't recognize him, but he glanced inside the cafe, then at me, before walking away quickly. A stranger, watching them, watching me. Fear clawed at me. Who was he? Why did it feel like he knew something I didn't? Back in my car, I gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. My life was unraveling thread by thread, and now there was someone else tangled in the web. My fiancé, my sister, and a stranger who seemed to know too much. I whispered into the darkness, my voice shaking. What have you done, Claire? I couldn't shake the image of Hay and Claire in that cafe, the heads close together, her hand brushing his. Every time I closed my eyes, it replayed like a nightmare. But worse than that was the man I didn't know, the stranger who had looked at me like he already knew the truth I was dying to uncover. By the next morning, I was done hiding behind silence. If I didn't confront them now, the lies would drown me alive. Harry came home late, as he had promised, but his shirt smelled faintly of perfume I didn't own. My heart twisted, but I steadied my voice. Where were you? He froze mid-step, his keys dangling in his hand. Work, I told you. No, I said, my voice sharp enough to cut the air. You weren't at work. You were with Claire. The color drained from his face. What? That's ridiculous. Don't lie to me. My voice cracked, raw with betrayal. I saw you. At the cafe. Talking to her like lovers. Or co-conspirators. Which is it? Hey. For the first time since I had known him, his calm mask slipped. His jaw tightened, his eyes flashing with something like panic. But before he could answer, the front door creaked open. It was Claire. She stepped inside without hesitation, her gaze flicking from me to Harry. Emily, stop. Stop. I laughed bitterly. You want me to stop asking why my fiancé and my sister are sneaking around behind my back. Claire dropped her purse on the table, her movements deliberate, controlled. It's not what you think. Then tell me, I snapped. Because right now, I think you've both betrayed me. And I'm starting to believe it's not about love at all. It's about Father's will, isn't it? Her lips parted, shock flashing across her face before she composed herself. That half-second of silence was all the confirmation I needed. You knew, I whispered. You knew the estate was mine. And you couldn't stand it. Claire's eyes hardened. Do you have any idea what it's like, Emily, to watch you be handed everything while I'm left with scraps? You, the sweet little innocent, the one everyone adores. Father's favorite. Her voice trembled with rage. I deserved it more than you ever did. My breath caught. My own sister, poisoned by envy. And Harry, standing there silently, caught between us. I turned to him, tears burning my eyes. And you? Were you ever mine, Harry? Or was I just a key to the estate? He opened his mouth, but the sound of a fist pounding on the door made us all freeze. Emily Carter, a deep voice called from outside. I stumbled back, my heart racing. That voice, I recognized it. The stranger from the cafe. Clay's face went pale. Harry swore under his breath. Who is that? I demanded. Neither of them answered. The knocking grew louder, more urgent. Emily, open up. You deserve to know the truth. I backed away, torn between terror and curiosity. The man on the other side of the door claimed to hold the answers I had been chasing, but the way Claire and Harry looked at each other, with fear, not surprise, told me his presence was even more dangerous than I realized. My hand hovered over the doorknob, trembling. Should I let him in? Claire's voice broke the silence. Don't, Emily. If you open that door, everything will spiral out of control. But wasn't it already? My pulse thundered in my ears as I grasped the handle. I had to know. The air was thick with silence, broken only by the pounding on the door. My hand trembled against the knob, Claire's warning echoing in my head. If you open that door, everything will spiral out of control. But wasn't that the truth I had been living already? Lies, secrets, whispers in hallways. My sister, my fiancé, and now a stranger who seemed to know more than all of us. I turned the knob, the door flew open, and the man from the cafe stepped inside before I could stop him. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his eyes sharp with determination. He looked at me first, then at Claire and Harry standing side by side like guilty shadows. Emily, he said firmly, my name is Daniel, and you need to know the truth about them. I froze. Who are you? Why are you following me? His jaw clenched. Because your father asked me to. Before he died. The room spun. My father. Claire stiffened, her face draining of color. Harry cursed under his breath, grabbing my arm as if to pull me away. Emily, don't listen to him. Daniel cut him off, his voice booming with conviction. Your father knew Claire would try to take everything from you. He hired me to watch, to make sure his will was carried out fairly. My knees buckled. Claire's eyes blazed with fury. Liar, you have no proof. But Daniel pulled a folded document from his jacket and thrust it into my hands. It was a letter, written in my father's handwriting. Emily, if you are reading this, it means I was right to worry. I trusted Claire, but I also knew her hunger for more. Protect what is yours. Don't let love blind you to betrayal. My chest tightened as tears blurred my vision. My father had known. He had seen what I refused to see. I turned to Claire, my voice breaking. How could you? You're my sister. Her lips twisted into a bitter smile. Because you never deserved it, Emily. You've always been weak, sheltered, protected. Father gave you everything, while I had to fight for scraps. And then hey. She glanced at him, her voice dripping with venom. He was supposed to choose me, but he chose you, because of that stupid will. My stomach dropped. So it was never love. I whispered to Harry. His eyes flickered with guilt, his silence damning him more than words ever could. Claire laughed bitterly. Love? You were just the path to the estate. And Harry was willing to play his part, until he fell for you. Pathetic, really. I staggered back, the betrayal cutting deeper than any blade. My sister, my fiancé, both of them weaving lies around me, all for greed. Daniel stepped forward. It's over, Claire. I have enough evidence to expose you both. The forged documents, the secret meetings, the letters. You won't win. Claire's mouth cracked, rage spilling across her features. You think you can stop me? Do you know who I am? But I was done. Done being quiet. Done being blind. You're my sister, I said coldly, my voice steady for the first time. And that's the saddest part. Claire's face faltered, just for a moment. But the damage was already done. Daniel placed a firm hand on my shoulder. Emily, you're safe now. They won't be able to touch what's yours. But safe was the last thing I felt. The house, the estate, the inheritance. All of it suddenly felt like a curse, a chain that had destroyed everything I loved. I looked at Harry one last time, my chest hollow. Leave, I whispered. Both of you. Whatever we had, whatever we were, it's over. Claire's eyes burned with hatred as she stormed out, Harry trailing behind her like a broken shadow. When the door slammed shut, silence filled the room. My heart was shattered, but somewhere deep inside, a strange sense of freedom bloomed. The truth had destroyed me, but it had also saved me. I slipped the ring off my finger and placed it on the table. That night, for the first time in weeks, I finally breathed. But as Daniel glanced out the window, scanning the darkness, his words lingered in my mind. They won't be able to touch what's yours. The way he said it, almost like a warning. I realized then that this was not the end. Betrayal leaves scars, and secrets have a way of resurfacing. And my sister, my own blood, was not the kind of woman to give up so easily.